Liz and I talk about what happiness means a lot, and I think we're pretty happy. I don't think it's anything you can pursue. I think it occurs when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it takes some searching to be doing what you're doing. Happiness isn't from collecting at all. And, we think that we're here to achieve things for other folks. That's why we're here, to make the world a little better, to stop pain. We're on a life that we loved. My defense practice was really good. I had left a job teaching at Georgetown's law school in the criminal justice clinic a couple years before. We were with family and friends all the time, and we thought we had achieved, or at least we're on a path towards conventional success. What happened, though, we went down to New Orleans. It was this perfect storm of events. Liz's mom was 62 and had recently retired. Liz was thinking of changing work to go to another nonprofit group, and I had just finished a big trial. And so instead of taking a vacation, we thought, let's invest, let's do something useful. The initial commitment was pretty small. We figured we'd go down there for a few weeks with Liz's mom. And that was an easy decision. I think anyone can do that. Anyone can do any of this. There were different points when we were down there for that. I was there for 2.5 weeks. Liz was there for a month. And there were different points when we realized that we had to do something. So when we got there, it was devastating. 6 months after the storm, you expect a recovery to be going on, and people's primary needs weren't even met. So back then, now we're still struggling to get people out of FEMA trailers. Back then, the lucky folks were in FEMA trailers, and Americans who look like everybody, very diverse group of folks by age and racial background, were at wit's end and really didn't have their primary needs met. People were sleeping in attics and garages and tents, vehicles, and streets were covered by guck. And I guess what was most traumatic for us is that they were hopeless. They had every reason in the world to believe that they were forgotten. Started working on houses one at a time. We found a family, they're everywhere, a fisherman family, and the two of us started working on the house with money we had raised. And then it was, like the perfect, what was that baseball thing? The Field of Dreams. Volunteers just started coming out of the woodwork. So some folks started working with us on that house, and then some skilled people came. A woman who had 6 months to go before the Peace Corps joined us. She became the volunteer coordinator, and it just grew and grew and grew. We went to the United Way. So we started working on houses in July. We went to the United Way in September and said, we need some funds for drywall. They gave us enough money to buy drywall for 25 families, so that was good. Volunteers were coming, and we always focused on a couple things. Keeping our promises to clients. We didn't want to overpromise anything. And then making sure that the work was professionally done by volunteers who were well supported. And it just grew. People would come down. It's a crazy time. This was like the Wild West out there. And we asked a couple of people to stay, and they did. They became our first site supervisors. So that brought Liz and I out of the field where we were terrible, and into the office to raise money and recruit more volunteers and put together a structure. So we grew from that July from one house at a time to Thanksgiving, 4 houses at a time, Christmas, 10 houses at a time, and now 4 years later, 50. We've gotten, as of today, we've finished 302 houses. A lot of work left to do. It's a drop in the bucket, but for those 302 families, it means something.